See, I feel the need to record this right now while it's on my mind, because I just saw a post a few days ago. I remember that popped up in my head about how women carrying girls creates more stress versus when they carry boys. And everybody had their comments about it, about, you know, situations and circumstances, how it creates the stress carrying a girl. But everything that I'm going through in the last few days that kind of helped me come to this conclusion is basically, when you're carrying a girl, like I've always believed, groups of women bring out Martian energy while groups of men bring out Venus energy, right? And they're not opposites, they're complementary. So, and one just has more of the other when dealing with the opposite or outside forces. But when you're the same, when you are in a group of the same, it only, you know, intensifies the same energy, right? And a lot of people want to label that as women being crazy, women being psycho, women, you know, being wild, and, you know, you can't tame them, or mysterious and weird. And that is what creates the money. That's what creates sex appeal. That is what creates empires, right? So the thing about it is, while I was carrying both of my daughters, I see the synchronicities now that I've had both of them, and it's been almost 2 years with my youngest daughter. And I do see the stress. It does. Carrying girls did bring me a feeling of being more stressed because of that doubling up of Martian energy. Okay, it's you feel like, you know, the attitude is just too much. Okay, the attitude becomes really big, or, you know, you just get angrier faster. Like you become reactive instead of responsive. Like all those survival mode instincts kick it up a few notches when it's a girl, because you're doubling that Martian energy, which is about protection, war, safety, you know, being grounded and rooted in who you are, knowing how to identify yourself. And when you are grouped in when you're in a position where something inside of you is developing the same energy to identify itself against you, and it's happening energetically or biologically, but it's not happening mentally, or I would say consciously. All right, we don't try to create a conscious division between ourselves as mother and daughter, and it could still play out that way when we don't understand energy and how it works and how to utilize it. And religious dogma kind of stomped all of that information out as absurd and, you know, baseless, when astrology is literally the basis of everything, because it is a demonstration of creation. It's a point of communication between one and another, because we're both looking at something, but we could both be seeing different things. That creates a gateway or a portal to other worlds, which is why Mercury or mercurial energies must be respected. Papa Legba, Elegua Eshu. Like, all of Mercury, you know, all of those energies, Hermes, have to be respected. So, you know, carrying a boy, I didn't have the same stresses necessarily I had with carrying my daughter that made me feel like I could possibly be going through postpartum or, you know, stuff like that. Carrying him feel like I was more of myself, because I had the opposition of, you know, balance. I had the balance of carrying a boy, while it made me more feminine, but it also made me more of myself because I was carrying a Scorpio. And that is also Martian energy, but it's Martian energy in a mystic, deep psychological way. Not like Aries energy, Mars, where it's directly in your face. So a lot of personal transformation was taking place for me, 444 on the clock when I look down, during the carrying of my son. And I said, if I ever had another son, I know I would have that same experience, and I would definitely welcome it. because I did a lot of deep study and deep research during that time that really helped me redefine my path and who I am clearly, because my Saturn return at the time was teaching me, to get rid of everyone else's program or my teacher's program and develop my own program. And my mother raised me, but my dad and my grandfather now are the ones who kind of nurtured things in me that I needed to stabilize the work that raising me created. Okay, so like the men examples that I have in my family so far that was present in a way that conditioned me to change my mind to be a certain way, which is my father and his father. They created the container, right? They stabilized the container that I am. And then my mother being the one that raised me, the Saturn energy, right? That energy showed me the contents that go in the container, how to be responsible for those contents that is in the container. That's what my mother raised me to do, is be responsible for what's inside of you. And my father and grandfather both demonstrated that how you take care of what's inside of you is just as important as what's inside of you. Those are the two dynamics. So if what raised you is internal, but what nurture you is external, which, that links us back to the ego, the first house, Mars, Sun and Aries being exalted. But also at the same time, it's like, if I'm a woman carrying a girl, it's like container in container, we need. So not having a stable father figure, not feeling grounded in the experience of carrying a girl while going through all of that is stressful, on top of what nature is already doing to the body naturally as a stress, on the body. So when woman is carrying a boy, it's like what contains you is inside you. So the ability to be free, be yourself, be wild, be, the content of who you are is so much easier, because you feel like you have an anchor or something rooted inside of you. And then it's like when you have a girl, you're continuing something in your line, but when you have a boy, you're ending something in your line, because he gets to be the one to be born and procreate a generation of things to be different, versus the woman that is born, she's continuing, for example, I'm continuing something in the family, like we say generational curse or imprints and stuff like that. I'm continuing something that, and then I recognize the pattern from doing, the shadow work, self-reflection, staying healthy as much as possible. Doing those things help me identify the pattern within myself that I can identify within my lineage, the pathology of my maternal line, whether it's my mother and my masculine's maternal line. And then I, deal with that. I heal that through my actions, word and deed. And there goes the boy.